I've asked repeatedly for EPA results on water and land.
Sir, the agenda item is energy solutions. So if you could stick
The
to
energy solutions are BS because this is all Biden's BBB, Build Back Better. Recess? Yeah, that's what I thought.
Thank you so much for your testimony. I don't see any hands for questions.
It
So
wasn't a
thank
forest
you.
fire?
No,
Okay, what was it?
not a forest fire. Wasn't a
Exactly.
wildfire either. And it wasn't your whatever. So anyway, please submit your ideas. We welcome whatever ideas you do have. If you want to continue to criticize, that's also your right to. But, you know, at this point, we welcome more ideas than criticism so that we can all work together. Mahalo.
Wow. When nobody gives answers.
I'm going to be making a plasma in my microwave. This is one of those that you don't want to try at home. So if you microwave fire that's already burning, because fire is a partial plasma and has free electrons in it, when you apply microwaves to it, it accelerates those free electrons and generates even more free electrons, and you can sustain a plasma in there. You can see this a little better in slow motion. What's neat about this is you can see the fire burning down below. Its energy comes from the wood, from combustion, but the plasma above it, it's not actually burning anything, but it's still lighting up. That energy is coming from the microwaves itself. So that's the separating and recombining of the electrons of the atoms in the air that's causing it to light up like that. Watch how the plasma moves from one of the sparks below, and it rises really fast as soon as it generates a plasma because it gets extremely hot, way hotter than the fire.
Secretary, can I ask you a question about some of the technology that you're developing to fight the war on terror, specifically directed energy and high-powered microwave technology? When do you envision that you can weaponize that type of technology?
Goodness. It is in, for the most part, the kinds of things you're talking about are in varying early stages. Do you have anything you'd add?
I don't think I would add much. I think they are in early stages and probably not ready for employment at this point.
In the normal order of things, when you invest in research and development and begin a developmental project, you don't have any intention or expectations that one would use it. On the other hand, the real world intervenes from time to time, and you reach in there and take something out that is still in a developmental stage, and you might use it. So your question's not answerable. It depends on what happens in the future and how well things move along the track, and whether or not someone feels it's appropriate to reach into a development stage and see if something might be useful, as was the case with the unmanned aerial vehicles.
But you sound like you're willing to experiment with it.
Yeah, I think that's the point, and I think, we have, I think, from the beginning of this conflict, I think General Franks has been very open to looking at new things if there are new things available, and has been willing to put them into the fight even before they've been fully wrung out. And I think that's not referring to these two particular cases of directed energy or high-powered microwave, but sure. And,
yes.
And we will continue to do.
Let's just this is my freezer in the garage and my file cabinets, and you open this up and it's just all black charred paper. And so there was food in the freezer actually from frozen meals, and they looked like they had been microwaved. It was crazy. And so just giving you some tips here.
Well, maybe they were microwaved.
I agree, right? And so how did our cars just melt like that, and this bush is still standing right next to it? Look at my car. And so
Thank you so much for your testimony. I don't see any hands for questions.
It
So
wasn't a
thank
forest
you.
fire?
No,
Okay, what was it?
not a forest fire. Wasn't a
Exactly.
wildfire either. And it wasn't your whatever. So anyway.
We got to find out what went right, what went wrong, and then let's see what we can collectively do to make sure that none of this stuff could possibly happen again.
But he says that conversation didn't go as expected. When Pluta asked for a copy of the after-action report,
Mr. Ndaya was so concerned. He says, you can look at it here in the office, but you can't say anything about it to anybody. It's all confidential. The impression I got is that he said the liability to the county is way too high because of what is revealed in that report, and we don't want anybody to know anything about it.
you read it. but you cannot say what it said.
I didn't want to, get accused of leaking confidential information and having to go to court.
Did what you read concern you?
Absolutely.
In what way?
The failure to recognize the imminent dangers that were revealed.
H&N Investigates has spent weeks submitting public records requests to a multitude of Maui County agencies in an effort to obtain a copy of the 2018 Lahaina wildfire after action report. The county told us it forwarded our request to its emergency management office, but we've yet to hear back. Meanwhile, a spokesperson with the Maui Police Department said she was unable to locate the report within normal search parameters. We even put a request into Maui County's Police Commission. Officials there didn't respond at all. The executive director of the Civil Beat Law Center told H&N Investigates there is no good reason Maui County should be withholding the entire report.
And here it's wildfire, right? And no accountability for the fact that there was no alerts that were sounded on the sirens. There was no alerts that were sent on text messages. There was nothing on radio, television, or the internet. There was no water in the hydrants. There was police that were blockading people from leaving the town even though they knew the power lines were deactivated. You have an emergency proclamation that was declared July 17th because they didn't get a bill passed on June 5th. So July 17th was an unprecedented emergency proclamation for an emergency that hadn't even happened yet, right? So the list literally goes on and on and on and on, yet the sheep are asleep, in my opinion. Well, a lot of the sheep are asleep, in my opinion.
Hopefully this is a wake-up call.
Yeah.
Yes, and this is what I want to show too, is people don't understand why. Why would they do this to Maui, right? Here's the thing. It is right here. The first thing you have to understand is that Maui was set up to be the first smart city. So during this period between 2011 and 2016, there has been a smart community project called Jump Smart Maui, held in the island of Maui, U.S. With the objective and effective utilization of renewable energy that had been penetrating on a large scale, widespread deployment of electric vehicles and smart community. And this part's really important. Was constructed by Hawaiian and Japanese stakeholders, headed by the New Energy and Industrial Technology Development Organization, NEDO, of Japan. So a smart city, a smart community was constructed by Hawaii and Japanese stakeholders. Now, I just want to say this because where do they want to put this corridor? They want to put it right here in Lahaina. This is a map. This is the Urban Corridor Center. All the red is where the Urban Corridor Center would be in Lahaina. But here's the thing, they couldn't do this because of the historical preservation law, the historical preservation law. But what happens is the governor, he actually suspends these laws. So in his first proclamation of the homelessness, he was the first governor in history to create an emergency proclamation with no emergency, and I'll show you the ridiculousness of this. But he suspends these laws. This is totally against the Constitution, you guys. He can't use this bill. HR 127 is against the Constitution, and I'll show you how. But he suspends laws, and the very first one he suspended, historic preservation law. He suspends that one. He suspends 6 of them. He suspended the civil service law. He suspended collective bargaining in employment, and also public officers and employments excluded from collective bargaining. All these are checks and balances. And then the most crazy one that he suspended was the public agencies meetings and records. Basically now, the public doesn't know about government meetings. It's not recorded. There's no public testimony because he's suspended this law for housing.
Thank you so much for your testimony. I don't see any hands for questions.
It wasn't a forest fire?
No.
Okay, what was it?
Not a forest fire. It wasn't a wildfire either. And it wasn't whatever. So anyway.